Hello, give me 1 minute. Make sure I'm live here. Okay, looks like I am good to go. So good afternoon, Carol Buckalew with Inky Stampers. My work area here looks a bit crooked, but I am going to, and the video looks a little delayed. I'm not going to move my camera. Facebook did something, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and now all of a sudden I have this wide view when I do my lives. So I'm not 100% what's going on. I see a huge delay in the video, but we'll just go with it. Hi, Faith. Thanks so much for joining. I was just saying that Facebook has changed something. I know. Mary, I need to check out YouTube. I need to practice going live on YouTube and figure that all out because, yeah, this is not working for me. I have this wide view, and even though I, line my camera up, hey, Karen, thanks for joining. No worries. Even though I line my camera up, it's when it goes live, it still looks crooked, so I don't get it. But anyway. Welcome, and I'll just go ahead with the card here. So this is my card for today, and I'm calling this the, see, I set my notebook aside, the Perennial Lavender thank you card. So the Perennial Lavender is actually the DSP that I've used on this card. It is one of my favorite papers, and the stamp set, the Perennial Lavender, Painted Lavender stamp set and dies are among my favorites as well. So just so pretty, and got a lot of kind of purples going on here. So this is the card we're going to make today. So let's get started. And I mentioned that I use the Painted Lavender stamp set, and I've also used the coordinating dies. So I've used these detailed dies. And I love that Stampin' Up! Gives us detailed dies. Oh, thanks, Mary. Appreciate it. Because they're just awesome. And then if you noticed on my card, I've got some background texture here. That comes from the Painted Texture 3D embossing folder, which is awesome. One of my favorites. Okay, I have a lot of favorites. I'll admit it. I use sentiments from the Something Fancy stamp set. And there's a great selection of sentiments here. I like the mixed fonts. And then I use the tiniest square die here for my sentiment label from the Perennial postage dies. So yeah, that's what I use for today's card. Set those aside. We'll get some pieces out here. And we're going to do a little bit of stamping first. I have pre-embossed my panel here with that Painted Texture 3D embossing folder. You can see all that beautiful texture. This piece of DSP gets mounted right onto there. But let's do a little bit of stamping first. And the only two colors that I have used are Blackberry Bliss and Fresh Freesia. And we're going to go with the Blackberry Bliss first, and we'll get our sentiments stamped. And let me grab my sentiment here. So this little thank you sentiment is going on to our sentiment label on the front of the card. I'm just going to stamp off on my grid paper just to make sure that my stamp is somewhat lined up and it looks to be pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and just get the sentiment stamped on here real quick. Oops. There we go. That's good. And let me grab, so I need to stamp a little butterfly up here in Blackberry Bliss. And the DSP that I used is directional, so you want to make sure that these little flower sprigs are facing upwards when you cut this panel and when you stamp on it. And I'm just going to ink this up in Blackberry Bliss, and I'm going to stamp my butterflies up here, kind of in the upper right. And I want to do that before I adhere this to my embossed panel for obvious reasons. Alrighty, that's that. We're going to do the inside panel stamping. And you'll notice that these are the same size panels. These panels are 4.5 inches wide by 3.25 inches. Hey, Tara Beth, thanks so much for joining. Appreciate it. And so I wanted the inside panel to be the same size as the outside panel. So that's why that looks like that. And our inside sentiment is, may the good you do come back to you. I love that sentiment. It's just perfect. And let me kind of get lined up here. You know what? I'm going to test this on my grid paper. I'm not 100% sure I got that lined up. That actually looks pretty good. Okay. I guess I did a good job after all. All right. And just get that sentiment stamp there towards the top. Hey, Mom. Hey, Susan. Thanks so much for joining. Thank you for joining, Mom. Appreciate it. Okay. I'm going to leave my Blackberry Bliss open. That's kind of dangerous to do because Blackberry Bliss is notorious, at least in my opinion. So I also have fresh freesia here. And what I want to do is I want to stamp this little grass image from the Painted Lavender stamp set across the bottom of my panel here. And I'm calling it a grass image. It's got little flowers on it, but mostly it's grass. It looks like grass to me. Kind of like wildflowers, maybe. And I'm just going to stamp this across the bottom a couple times. So just twice kind of stamps that image across there. I'm going to grab my envelope and do the same thing. This card goes together very quickly because they're die cuts and just a little bit of stamping. It came together very quickly. And I'll just stamp that image onto my envelope front. So there was a change to YouTube. See, I don't think it matters if you do Facebook Live or YouTube. Yeah. They make these changes and then you've got to just like figure it out every time. Drives me insane. All right, I just cleaned off this grass stamp and I'm going to use it again, but this time in Blackberry Bliss. Close up my fresh freesia. And I'm going to second generation stamp this grass image onto my inside panel. And I'm going to stamp it or load the stamp up with ink. I'm going to stamp it off one time. And then I'm going to come back and I'm only going to stamp half this image onto my panel. So it kind of gives it a little bit of dimension. So ink the stamp up, stamp off once, and then come back and just stamp about half of the image along the bottom of the panel, so you can see what that looks like. And I like second generation stamping. I think it's so pretty, but it kind of makes those fresh freesia grasses kind of recede into the background. So kind of a fun technique. All right, one more time for our envelope. Ink up, stamp off once onto scrap paper, and then just stamp halfway onto the bottom of the envelope. And that is that for the stamping. So super quick and easy card. Once you get your die cuts done for this card, super easy to put together. All right, let me just set my envelope aside and we'll get our pieces. We'll start to put our pieces here together. So this is my mat for the inside of the card. And a Blackberry Bliss, I know I say it all the time, like this is my favorite, that's my favorite, but it's true. I love the border and that you can see that Blackberry Bliss cardstock because I think it is such a rich, pretty color. Oh, Facebook is not working for you today. Yeah, you know, I don't know. I do not know what they are doing. All right, and I'm just going to look for kind of an equal border all the way around, top, bottom, left, and right. And liquid glue will let you get that little bit of wiggle room. And if it's not absolutely perfect, that's fine. Everything Stampin' Up! Is your favorite. I know, Karen, it is an addiction. It most definitely is. And I just have so many favorites. Yeah. Definitely a fun job being a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Speaking of being a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, pre-order for the September to December mini catalog, 2024 mini catalog. Pre-order begins for demonstrators on August 6th. And, you know, if it's something you've been thinking about it, give me a shout out. I'd love to talk to you about Stampin' Up! And why it is great to become a demonstrator. You know, and if you want it, there's no pressure. If you want to, you know, join my team, be a demonstrator, there is no pressure to sell. You know, you meet your quarterly quota and you get the discount for yourself. That's fine if that's all you want to do. All right, I'm going to do the same thing here with my DSP panel. And again, I'm looking for that kind of equal distance, top to bottom and left to right. And liquid glue kind of helps you move that around a bit if you need to. Now, because I have so many layers on the front of this card, I did not pop up these panels with Stampin' Dimensionals, only the sentiment label, just because I had a lot of thickness going on with all of the, yes, Susan, I do my lives every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. That is kind of the best time for me. You know, and at some future point, I might consider doing 2 a week, but I'm not there yet. So it's every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Greatly appreciate you joining, by the way. All right. So I'm just, again, looking for an equal reveal between my gorgeous scrape card base and my Blackberry Bliss mat. And I see that I just got glue on the back of my panel. I'm going to let that dry for a minute before I try to take it off. I don't want to mess up and rip that cardstock while that glue is wet. All right, so my sentiment label. I need to put Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm only going to put them on this side and this side. That will allow me to tuck all of my greenery pieces, all of my die cuts underneath of the sentiment label. So I'm going to apply the sentiment label first with just a few Stampin' Dimensionals, and then I can come back and I can add more Stampin' Dimensionals if I need them. So it's just a good way to kind of leave yourself some space and, you know, allow you to tuck in those die cuts. Oh, I'm glad you caught me, Susan. It's nice to have a new face join in. All right, so I'm just kind of lining these up to the edge, and we'll get the, but you'll be surprised to see how much all of this, all of these die cuts really pop up. Oh, no worries, Susan, don't worry about it. You'll be surprised how all of these die cuts really pop up this sentiment label. I mean, right now it's kind of, you know, flopping around there. All right, I'm going to grab my rubber eraser. This glue has dried a bit on the back of the card. I got a little bit happy with the glue. So rubber erasers, let the glue dry, and this takes it right off the cardstock or your DSP. Try not to get glue on your metallics though. I don't have metallics on this card, but that's kind of a bugger to get off. All right, I'm just going to kind of look at my sample card here. Since I've already arranged this, I have a couple of these large sprigs in soft seafoam. And this is not a color that was included with the Perennial DSP. However, Buffy competes for attention when you watch videos. Yeah. You're playing tug of war with Buffy while you're watching. And so I just want to put these down. Now, I don't want that greenery to overhang the edge of my card base. So I'm going to just grab my snips and just shorten that a bit. And so these greenery pieces, whoops, try not to bend them up, are going to go just like that. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my liquid glue. Hello, Rosie. No worries. Just gluing up some die cut pieces from the Painted Lavender dies. Alrighty. Just get that tucked in there. And I've not overextended my card base. So that's what you want to look for. And I am just really being very sparing with this glue. And look at this one tucked in. And I kind of want that one too. Kind of right up the edge there. Alrighty. And then we've got some pieces in Fresh Freesia and Berry Burst. And when I was working on this card initially, I didn't have the Berry Burst included, but the card really needed something bright against this. So this background is actually Gorgeous Grape on this Designer Series paper. I am going to snip off the ends of these die cuts because they are quite long, and I want to, be able to fit them in there. And I think we're going to do something like that. Oh, let me get this one cut off. And then maybe I'll just alternate these. So, get it arranged until it looks good to you. Then you can start working on adhering down your pieces. Now, I've got 4 white die cuts from the same sprig, and those will be used kind of diagonally in the center of the card. Whoop, I got scraps here sticking in my glue bottle. Not good. All right, and I am trying to be very sparing with that liquid glue. So we had a really, really lovely weekend here in Delaware this past weekend. The weather was just phenomenal. And now it is all yucky outside again and humid and hot. So we just can't win. But, it is August, so I'm super excited when we finally get to fall because, yeah, this is just not my kind of weather. It really isn't. I don't like the heat unless I'm at the beach. Then it's okay because it's always cooler at the beach, right? With the ocean breeze. But when you're inland, it's stinky. All right. So I'm just kind of alternating my Berry Burst and my Fresh Freesia sprigs. And then we've got some white sprigs. And I'm going to go ahead and get these added. And I'm going to cut off a couple of the ends on these just to make them a little shorter, just to vary the height of those sprigs. And I think I'm going to tuck one down here, kind of to the side. So you can see that I'm able to lift up the corner of that sentiment label. And when you're doing kind of this much tucking, you definitely want to have that flexibility. A little harder as I'm getting over here to the edge, but we can make it work. Florida, oh, most definitely, Susan. Florida is, yeah, ungodly in the summer. If you like the heat, you know, I guess it's good. And you can always duck in the air conditioning. But gosh, you hate being ducked, right? You hate having to duck into the air conditioning like 24/7. All right. And I'm just, you know, just kind of spraying these out just to make a pretty little arrangement here on the card front. And we'll get one more in there. Okay, that is all of our little greenery pieces. And I am going to take some of the silver and white sheer ribbon. This is a beautiful, beautiful ribbon. And I only need a short length. I'm going to just, and it's very difficult. When I photographed this card, it was kind of difficult to even see this ribbon on the card. I'm going to leave those ends long for right now. But what I want to do is I am going to, whoops, let's make sure that all my pieces are adhered here. They're wanting to pop up. And I can see a little bit of glue that I got on the DSP. So if you have tweezers, reversible tweezers like I do, they have this nice flat edge. I don't know if you can see that, but this nice flat edge. I use that edge to push back any liquid glue I see on my DSP. Just gently. DSP is a bit more delicate than cardstock, but that really, really helps. Just push that glue back enough so that you can't see it on your card front. I am going to grab a mini glue dot here. And I use that flat edge to grab my mini glue dots as well. And I'm going to just kind of tuck that under my sentiment label. Again, another good reason to not adhere that down. And I'm going to adhere my ribbon to that one mini glue dot. And I'm going to grab one more mini glue dot. They were right in front of me. I was looking for them, and they were right in front of my face. And you've done a similar card in monotone. I bet that was beautiful, Susan. I love monotone cards. It's hard for me, like, not to do a lot of them. You know what I mean? Like, I try to do a variety. But, yeah, they're just beautiful. So I don't need my ribbon that long. So I'm going to go ahead and just take my ribbon scissors. I'm going to cut this one a little short and this one just a little bit longer. Kind of the same angle on the ribbon. And there we go. So we've got our ribbon on there. We've got our inside panel in there. We are almost done. So something else that is coming up in August with Stampin' Up! Is a designer series paper sale. So I will be getting the details out on my blog soon for that paper sale. Oh, thank you, Mom. Appreciate it. So I've got some of the purple fine shimmer gems. These are gorgeous. And one of the colors on these gems is Blackberry Bliss. So I am going to put a few of these gems right on my card front. And let's grab another big one here, and let's tuck this one right down there. And then we'll do a little one. And let's put this one, I don't want them in a line. Let's put that one right out there. There we go. All right, almost done here. And I'm actually running on time today, so that's good. And then all we have left to do, we've already stamped our envelope front. Just going to add a piece of the designer series paper to the envelope flap. And this card is for a sketch challenge for tomorrow's Happy Inkin' Thursday blog hop. So you can join in on the hop. Go to my blog at inkybstampers.com. And I will have links on my post tomorrow for the hop. so that you can hop around and get inspired by others. And it's a good time every week. And we have a different challenge each week. So this is for a sketch challenge tomorrow. And I feel like I strayed a little bit on the sketch challenge. Not a lot, but a little bit. But I think it works. So I'll let you guys be the judge of that. All right, I'm just going to carefully here trim around I just snipped a little bit of the envelope, but that's okay because nobody's going to notice. There we go. All right. We are done with our card. So that is the Perennial Lavender thank you card for my live today. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, Rosie. Appreciate it. Yeah, so just beautiful colors together, beautiful paper. Yeah, you need to grab some. All right, thank you so much. Listen, I will be back next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. I hope you can join me then. And I really appreciate you joining me today. Thanks so much, and take care. Bye-bye.